Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So tonight we are going to be having a look at Rise of the Ronin and what my thoughts are, because I've poured a buttload of hours into this over the weekend. So let's see. Some things I like, some things I dislike, but let's just be clear, I do enjoy the game. The game is a ton of fun. The combat system, I think it's brilliant, it's on another level. But there are some issues I've got with the game that might put others off. So let's have a look at what my thoughts are. I'll tell you the good, the bad and the downright ugly. And hopefully by the end I'll have helped you make the decision whether it's worth you spending £70 or whatever the equivalent is in euros, dollars, wherever you are, on a video game. The first thing we're going to talk about is the first thing you're introduced to in the game. You have got a fully customizable character, so it's not just like the Assassin's Creed games where you can change your outfits, change your weapons, change your hairstyle, do tattoos. You can literally change every aspect of this character in this game, and you can make him look, I mean, you can spend hours and hours doing it, trying to get him to look as close to you as you possibly can, or you can just make him look as daft as possible. I didn't do neither. I just changed a few things and just sort of went with it, but it was fun to have a little play around with all the little settings. Change his hairstyle, change his skin colour, change his eye colour, change his facial hair, change everything. You can do his height, his build, or hair build, depends on which one you choose. Yeah, so that's the first plus, is customizable character. It is, I think it just makes the game fun, and it suits this game. I couldn't see this being as fun in, say, like your GTAs or your Assassin's Creeds or your Red Deads. I can't see it being that appealing in them games, but it suits this game, so that's the first plus. And now for one of the things I'm not fond of with the game. So I'm going to play you a little clip in a minute just to show you exactly what I mean. But considering it's an action RPG, your character is pretty much non-verbal most of the way through the game. Cutscenes, the odd here and there, he speaks or she speaks, depends on which part you choose. But when you just having normal interactions with locals that don't lead to big cutscenes, then you get the choice of answers on the screen like you do in most action RPG or just general RPG games. But instead of choosing your answer or choosing the question and then your character speaking a few lines, it just doesn't. You pick your question or pick your answer, and then it just cuts to the other person responding to the question or the answer you have, or should I say haven't, just given them. Now, whether that's just because of how RPG games and action RPG games have spoilt us with choice and fully voiced characters for the past 10 to 15 years, or whether it was a budgeting thing, and I can't see it. I just think for the price you're paying for the game, it shouldn't be conversations like you were playing Zelda on your old Game Boy. You pick a question, there's no words spoken by the character, but there is by the person you're speaking to, if that makes sense. I just think for the price you're paying for the game, for the £70 game, that's AAA game money, that. And I just think personally it wouldn't have took them that much longer, considering this game's been apparently in development for 9 years. You'd have thought they'd have seen what everyone else was doing and thought that would actually fit better rather than the non-verbal character. And like I say, he does speak a few times in the big cutscenes, but in the smaller cutscenes and just the general interaction with people throughout the game, he is non-verbal. You'll get a grunt out of him every now and then, and that's one of the main things that I dislike about this game. There's not many things I dislike about it, but that is the biggest one, the non-verbal player character. It just, like I say, I don't know whether it's just because of how spoiled we've been with fully voiced characters over the years. Do you know what I mean? Through the Assassin's Creeds, Uncharted, Red Deads, GTAs, all them games. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether it's... this might not put a lot of people off, but if I'd have known this beforehand, if I'd have actually watched some of the bigger YouTubers doing reviews on who got early access, then that might have swayed me a little bit. I don't know. I think I might have still got it, but I think I might have waited until it had come down in price a bit, and I wouldn't have went out and bought it day one. But like I say, that's my biggest gripe with the game. I don't think there's many. I think there's 2 or 3 things I dislike about the game, and that's the biggest one. For a £70 game, you'd just expect a fully voiced character, and it wouldn't have took them all that much more time or money to do it. Whether that's just the way they do the games, because being honest, I've never played it, or well, I don't think I've played a Team Ninja game. In fact, I have. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember ever playing a Team Ninja game, so whether that's just the way they do their games or whether there was budgeting issues, I don't know. But for me, my favourite games are RPGs, story-driven RPGs and RPGs. So for my main character to be 95% non-verbal during the game, that's a big thing for me. And like I say, that is one of the things that has disappointed me about this game, the one that's disappointed me the most. But like I say, that might not bother everybody. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. I would have preferred it if the character was fully voiced and the conversations were more interactive than just picking a question or picking an answer, clicking it, and then getting nothing from your character, just a response from this person your character's speaking to. But that's just me. Other people might not be bothered by that, but it's a big thing for me. Now, back onto some more good points. So, in the game, you'll get to certain points where you can do trades and upgrades and all that stuff. Now, at first, for someone like me, coming from the Assassin's Creed franchise, it was a little bit daunting, it was a little bit awkward, it felt a little bit fumbly. But once you get used to it, the trading and upgrading stuff is, I'm going to say, it makes more sense than the way you have to trade and upgrade in other games. It just, I don't know, it just works with this game. Once you get used to it, after you've figured out what your trades do, what your trades do, what your upgrades do, how to buy stuff, how to sell stuff, what you should and shouldn't buy, shouldn't sell, then it all clicks together. So it looks a lot more daunting. It's like the skills tree on Valhalla. It looks a lot more daunting than it is, but it's actually rather simple. And then the biggest thing I am loving about this game is the combat mechanics. I think Team Ninja have smashed it out of the park, the way they've set both, because not just the combat mechanics, but the difficulty levels as well, the difficulty scalings on it. So even on the easiest settings, the difficulty level is rather high. So where you'd expect to go on easy mode and just go in and smash everyone like you do in the Assassin's Creed games, it's not like that. So you're going to this, like most people do, the first playthrough, your first playthrough's normally on easy mode, get the gist of it, and then when you go for another playthrough, you'll up it. On this, you'll go in on easy mode, and you will find that not even the big bosses, but some of the lesser bosses will just wipe you out in minutes, unless you figure out the parrying. It's called Spark something, I can't remember off the top of my head now, but unless you figure out the parrying system on this and how to do it properly, you will get wiped out by most lesser bosses in a matter of minutes. It's as simple as that. But that's what I like about it. I like a challenge. So do most gamers, I think. So to have it even on the easiest setting and lesser boss, then that just ups the fun in the game, in my opinion. That it's a little bit more difficult in the combat style. The selection of weapons and outfits that you've got, there's not much that you can go wrong with. You've got your katanas, your long staffs, I can't remember what they're called. There's all kinds of weapons you can use in it. You can use throwing stars, you've got a grappling hook, so it's like Japanese 1850s Batman. Guns, we've got guns, which are, I've got to say I haven't really used them that much, but it's by the by, you've got them, you can use them if you want. You've got rifles, pistols, bayonets, you've got all sorts. So that's another plus. The weapons and the gear and the outfits you can get in it are suited to the game, unlike certain Assassin's Creed outfits. I'm saying nothing, Iron Man. But yeah, the outfits and the weapons are very, very good, and time and game specific. The actual setting in 1850s Japan is a plus for me. It is brilliant. It does have its downside, but this is the time in Japan when they were getting all trade with the US, the UK, France. So you see all these other different countries' flags around when you're going into the bigger cities. The pleasure district with all the geishas. But you can see it in the architecture that it's sort of like east meets west. So you've got Western style buildings, and then you've got your traditional Japanese style buildings of the time period, which I just think is brilliant. The only thing that lets it down, and the last couple of points are going to be all negative from my point of view. Other people might have different points of view on it, but this is just my point of view, my preference. So the setting of Japan is brilliant in the 1850s, but it could have been so much better had they just upped the graphics a little bit, modernised the graphics, because everything still does look a little bit grainy. It's almost as if they've said this game's been in development for 9 years, but it hasn't. I don't think it has been in development for 9 years. It looks and feels like it was finished 9 years ago and put on the shelf, and they've just been saying it's been in development for the last 9 years to build the hype. It feels like, graphically, it feels like a 10-year-old game. Would have been a very good 10-year-old game, but it still feels like graphically they haven't done nothing since the game started development 9 or 10 years ago. If that makes sense. I just think graphically they could have made this world, this whole Japan in the 1850s with all the trade, with all the West, they could have made it look so much better if they'd have just upped the graphics a bit, upped the imaging. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad, but That's where my problem lies with this game. And again, I go back to the point of whether it's just because of how spoilt we've been with the general RPG genre for the past 10 to 15 years, and how much better everything's got game on game, year on year for the past 10 to 15 years. This just doesn't feel like it's up there with any RPG game that's come out in the last 10 years. It feels and looks like an old game that might have had a little bit of an upgrade. Do you know what I mean? Like they do the PS5 upgrades for games that are like 3 years old or 4 years old that came out on PS4. That's what it feels like. It just feels like it's a 10-year-old game that's had a tiny graphical upgrade to bring it up a little bit, but it just, pardon me, just does not stand up against anything that's come out in the RPG era, in the RPG genre, for the past 10 years. It just, for me, it just feels like an old game, looks like an old game. So, let's get down to the meat and two veg of this video. What is my overall opinion of the game? Now, like I said from the start, I do not hate the game. I think the game is fun. I think the combat system is brilliant. Once you've figured it out and mastered it, and mastered your timing. But beyond that, everything else lets it down, from the non-verbal character, the graphics looking dated. They haven't really put much effort into try and make all of the surrounding area in the game. Some of it they have, some of it they haven't. But the surrounding areas in the game to look as realistic as we'd expect from an RPG game coming out in 2024. So, would I suggest you buying this game? Now, some people are just going to buy this game anyway because they know Team Ninja, they played Team Ninja games for years. I haven't. I'm pretty sure this is my first ever Team Ninja game. I couldn't be 100% on that though, but I don't know. I can't remember ever playing one. But unless you're a proper Team Ninja fan and you've loved all the other games, like what's the other one, Neo 2, it's more like a Dark Souls-esque type of game. But if you're just the average gamer, or this is your first time playing a Team Ninja game or a game of this style, then I'd maybe wait until it comes down a little bit in price, because for full price for this game, I think that's cheeky, because you're paying £70 for this game that looks and feels like a 10-year-old game. Don't get me wrong, it is a fun game. I do love the combat system in it. Took me quite a while to get used to it and get the timing down and that, but I do like it. But unless you're a Team Ninja fan, and if this is your first Team Ninja game, I would wait until the price comes down a bit, because £70 for this game, for someone who's never played a Team Ninja game, you are going to be highly disappointed when you get it, when you play it, purely because of the graphics, the non-verbal, 95% non-verbal character. Just like I was. Now I'm thinking I wished I would have waited until the price had come down a bit, because to pay AAA, to pay like the price you'd pay for like the Assassin's Creeds when they've come out, the last 3 or 4, well, excluding Mirage, because even that had a downgrade graphically, but the last 3 RPG games in Assassin's Creed, they've all come out and they've all been AAA prices, £60-70. So for this to be £70 well, a penny under £70, and for it to be as downgraded to what we'd expect in 2024 graphically from a game, I think that's just, I think the game's overpriced. I think if the game would have come out and it was like, when Mirage came out, 50 quid, then yeah, everyone would have been happy with that. I'd have been a bit more happy with it. I'd have probably still been disappointed in areas, but I'd have been a lot less disappointed than I am now. But yeah. So, if you're like me and you expect the highest caliber graphics from an RPG or an ARPG game in 2024, but you still want to play Rise of the Ronin, I'd wait until it goes down in price, or you can get it somewhere on offer, or you can get it in the, like, we've only got CEX now where you can part X your games for however long they carry on doing it. Unless you can get it at a discounted price, I'd wait until you can get it at a discounted price. Otherwise, I reckon 60% of gamers are going to be disappointed paying full price for this. Because like I said, you're paying £70 for Rise of the Ronin. You paid £70 for the last Assassin's Creed. Well, I think it was £60 for Valhalla, wasn't it? When it first come out. And that's a AAA game. The graphics on that are way beyond this. Do you know what I mean? And considering this has been in development for 9 years, you'd have thought in them 9 years they'd have kept upgrading the graphics as they were going along to make it more appealing to the modern gamer who expects the highest caliber of graphics and the highest caliber of visuals from a game at that price range. So there you go. That's my opinions on Rise of Ronin. That's my overview. If you're wanting to get it and it's your first Team Ninja game, I'd wait until you can get it at a bit of a discount, because even I'm disappointed now. How much I like the game, I still don't think it's a £70 game. Graphically, it's just a downgrade from anything we've played. I mean, you've all seen my video on Mirage, and you know how much I disliked Mirage. This is even a downgrade from Mirage's art style and Mirage's graphics. So, I'd say it is a fun game. It is tons of fun. And the combat system is brilliant. Once you get how to do that and how to time your parries perfectly, you will love the combat system on it. Do you know what I mean? And the story it's a good story. Do you know what I mean? The setting's perfect. It just could have done with that graphical upgrade. So, should you buy it? I'd say yeah. Regardless of my thoughts on the downsides to it, it is still a good game. The story's good. The combat system is brilliant. The concept is good. And I thought this was going to be a game that could see me through until we get Codename Red, which is now going to be apparently looking October, November this year. But I don't think this is a game that I'll come back and replay. I think I'll finish it once and it'll just collect dust on my shelf. It's a good game, but it's not that good, if that makes sense. It is worth getting at a discounted price and playing. But at full price, I just think they were asking, the price tag on the game was too high from the get-go. This should have never have been a £70 game. This should have been similar to Mirage. It should have been a £50 game. And then maybe it wouldn't have got... I've seen loads of YouTubers giving it all the hate because of the price, because of the graphical downgrades. But maybe if it was priced a little bit lower on release, like Mirage was, 50 quid, maybe it wouldn't have got all the hate it's got. But it is a good game. The story is good. The combat mechanics are brilliant. The gear and costumes, outfits you can get are brilliant. The customisable character thing, I can see a lot of people liking that. I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it in, I don't think I'd like to see it RPG games moving forward, I think it's too much, it distracts too much from the game. All that time you spend creating your own character, when most of us just want to get started and get straight into the meat and two veg of the game. We want to get into that opening scene without having to spend, well in my case it was about half an hour, creating a character, but in some people's cases I can imagine it's going to be hours trying to get that character to look as close as they can as possible. Anyway, so there you go, there you have it. That is my good points and bad points on Rise of the Ronin, and what I think about if you should buy it or not. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's been informative. And if you're still here at the end, it's time for a shameless plug. You know what to do. If you've liked the video, drop a like, drop a comment. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You can always take it away in a couple of weeks if you don't like me. But there we have it. I've been CJ. This is CJ Games, and I'll catch you in a bit.